Okay, so ready to dive in. We've got a big one today, this character, Theodore.
Absolutely. And, it's funny. I always feel like these deep dives, they're kind of like those mystery novels,
Mm-hmm.
where you don't get the full picture right away.
Totally. And we're stuck with these, what are they calling them, excerpts from like Theodore as a kid. So no pressure, but the whole, will this guy be a hero or a villain kind of rests on us figuring this out.
Right, right. Like we're building a profile here. But instead of, he prefers knives or guns, it's more like what happened in this guy's childhood to make him who he is.
Okay, so speaking of childhood, the excerpts start out pretty normal, right? Like, I don't know, almost too perfect.
That's key, though. You have to see that starting point. Because it's the contrast, right? If everything's always been awful, you almost become numb to it. But when you have that normal, that pretty good.
The fall is harder.
Exactly. And that's what gets interesting around, let me see, age 9. Things start to shift with his mom, Mrs. Moser.
Yeah, so she starts hitting the bar a lot, and not just like mom's having a Cosmo with the girls kind of thing.
Yeah.
The source actually says she's coming home drunker than before, clothes askew.
Ooh. Yeah, okay. See, that detail right there, that's telling. Because it's not just about the drinking, it's what it suggests,
Right.
about her state of mind and what young Theodore is picking up on.
Right, like what does a kid think seeing that night after night? It's got to mess with your sense of like safety, stability, family.
Absolutely foundational stuff, especially at that age. And then, just when you think it can't get worse, we get the incident with Ruel.
Oh gosh, yeah, his little sister. She drowns in the creek, and he finds her.
I mean, talk about trauma. It's one thing to lose a sibling. It's a whole other thing to be the one to discover that. At 9 years old, that's not something you just get over.
No, no way. And if that wasn't enough, on his actual 9th birthday, his mom just leaves, disappears.
And later they hear about the car accident, which, honestly, knowing what we know about the source material and how unreliable it can be sometimes, I don't know. It's suspicious.
Totally. So now he's lost his sister, his mom's gone, probably not in a good way. And this is where the Hellers enter the picture.
The Hellers. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting because Mr. Heller, he's the town mayor,
Yeah.
and he pretty much decides, well, Theodore, you're going to marry my daughter.
His daughter, who's what, the same age? Talk about a power imbalance.
Exactly, and unsettling on like so many levels. And of course, it's within this whole messed up arrangement that the abuse starts.
Right, with Tris, the older sister. Nightmares, crying for his mom. I mean, can you blame the kid for running away at 10? In winter, no less.
Desperate times, desperate measures. He almost dies out there, But that's where she finds him, the Witch of Winter Woods.
Dude, this is the part that throws me. Like, suddenly we're in a fairy tale. Who is this woman?
That's the million-dollar question, right? She takes him in, nurses him back to health. What happens in those 3 years? Is she like a surrogate mom filling the void of Mrs. Moser?
And what's she teaching him? The source mentions, like, knowledge beyond the human world. Could he be learning magic?
It's definitely implied. But then, almost as suddenly as it began, he's back with Tris. Abuse continues like nothing's changed. It's really harsh.
And then, gam, he meets Josephina at that diner, the Knot Diner. And I'm like, here we go.
Right. Because this is where, theoretically, the story we know starts. But think about it. All that baggage Theodore's carrying. The trauma, the loss, maybe even some weird witchy powers.
It's got to affect how he sees the world, how he interacts with Josephina, everything. So what do you think, listeners? Is Theodore going to be able to overcome his past?
Or will it twist him, make him into something different?
Keep that in mind as we keep digging. This is going to be good.